Briefly, I will be speaking about the history, the recent history of Somalia, the latest developments. And I will be speaking about what the Somali government wanted out of this conference. And a little bit I will be speaking about the future, which is the outcome of the conference. Going back to the recent history, Somalia has concluded a very complicated election process that have seen enhanced legitimacy. Although it has not been one man, one vote across Somalia, we have been able to organize an election where at least caucus groups elect each member of the parliament. There has been some shortcomings, some criticism, some mistakes, which we believe we learned from. But overall, it has been a peaceful election, and Parliament of 275 members has been elected in at least 6 locations out in Somalia, where in the past it was only in the capital where a list used to be drawn by clan elders to decide who they wanted to represent them in the parliament. Now it has been an election and voting, some people getting elected and others losing with degrees of number of votes they have been getting. So it was the beginning of Somalia coming back into the democratic process that it was a pioneer in Africa at one point in the 60s. So after the election of the parliament, according to our constitution, the president is elected by the parliament, and there has been a number of candidates, including the incumbent, and out of them, a very popular president has been elected, a man who served as a prime minister in the past in 2009, and who has worked in Somalia and who knows the situation and what to expect in office. He has been elected, and there was unprecedented support, spontaneous support by the Somali people, mainly in the main cities across Somalia, especially in the south, but also in the diaspora. And large number of people have been demonstrating for days after the election. And people are celebrating because they see him as an honest, they see him as an experienced, and they see him as someone they can trust in the leadership of the country. And half of the time, the average time, it used to take former presidents to appoint a prime minister, and he managed in 2 weeks to appoint a prime minister, who in turn, unlike former prime ministers, selected his cabinet members within 2 weeks. So 1 month, while the constitution was allowing them 2 months. And in the past, we had more than one time that either a president or prime minister go back to the parliament and asks for extension of another 2 or 3 more weeks to set up a cabinet. So with that swift and purposeful selection of the cabinet, the parliament approved overwhelmingly that cabinet. And that's how we came about into government. But what we have to deal with is the expectations of the people who have been demonstrating for the election of the president and who gave overwhelming support to the cabinet and the selection of the prime minister. And those challenges include large part of them to review the way we interact with the international community, how Somalia has been treated or seen or supported in the past, and how the people want to see themselves and their country and in their place of the world, and from now on with this unpopular government. And this London Conference, it came at that junction, which is very important for us and for the Somali people. During that period in the past, Somalia has seen so many international actors, governmental, non-governmental, and terrorist groups who are global, all of them working in Somalia, some of them with legitimate security concern, and some of them with ulterior motives. So we have seen troops from African peacekeeping force who have been very, very helpful in pacifying Somalia, in making sure that Somali government institutions remain in place and protected, who have managed to pacify the country, especially the main facilities of the main cities, like the airport and port in Mogadishu and in Kismayo and other places, and without whom the peacekeeping force of African countries, neighboring countries, without them, it would not have been either, it would not have been possible or very, very hard to conduct peaceful elections in Somalia. So the peacekeeping force, with some criticism, they are very welcomed by many, and particularly by the government. And we are grateful for their protection, the protection they are providing us, and that they are dying to protect our country. But there are also other groups operating in the sea, anti-piracy activities inside Somalia. There has been, as I mentioned, terrorist groups who have global links to Al-Qaeda operating inside Somalia. And it was a territory of everybody doing things the way they think and fits their purpose, and some of them thinking for Somalia and thinking that fits the purpose of Somalia. So in this conference, what we have done, the main point for the Somali government is to identify its needs and ask the partners and the international community, whoever can help Somalia. We need the help of our partners to help us with those needs that we identified ourselves. And that will give better coordination and for everybody, and it will be easier for donors to know exactly what they are doing, how they are either appreciated, or what difference they made by the end of the world. And in the end of the day yesterday, we have received what we wanted in terms of that coordination. It has been agreed on the security sector, on the humanitarian sector, on the political side. A lot of it is on the side of the Somali government that we had to deliver, and we are prepared and committed to follow that roadmap of activities for the next 4 years. That's the side of the Somali government. On the side of the international community, I hope we will hear from the UN and the UK government to tell us how they are going to implement what they have promised. Thank you very much.